everyone. Thank you for joining me today. My name is Erin of I am the health coach at the Highlands Ranch Natural Grocers and Highlands Ranch, and I'm available for one-on-one coaching sessions if anyone needs one. Today we're going to talk about bone builders and bone breakers. And happy St. Patrick's Day. Before we get started, I just have a few disclaimers. This class is not intended to diagnose, treat, or mitigate any disease. Dietary supplements and foods can interact with prescription medications. If you're taking a prescription medication, become familiar about the possible interactions. Oops, sorry. And then our 5 founding principles are our focus on nutritional education, highest quality standards, everyday affordable pricing, supporting local communities, and great employees and benefits. So we're going to turn off my video now. Okay, so when we're talking about bone health, here are some bone facts. About 10 million Americans have osteoporosis, 34 million have low bone mass, 20% are men who need extra bone health support, 24% of patients over 50 who have a hip fracture will die within the following year of that hip fracture or any fracture. 1 in 2 women and 1 in 4 men over 50 will have a bone density related fracture in their lifetime. And healthy lifestyle habits have the greatest influence on bone building health and maintenance. There are many things you can do in adulthood to strengthen and support our bone health. So first we need to talk about what bone health is and kind of the structure of our bone. And so on the picture on the left, we're talking about normal bone health. And then on the picture on the right is osteoporosis. So next we want to talk about bone structure. And basically bone is living tissue. So it's made up of proteins and collagen and osteocalcin. It has many minerals such as phosphorus, potassium, calcium, magnesium, silica. They're all needed to make the bone hard. And then we have protein from collagen, osteocalcin to provide flexibility, which allows the bone from breaking. So 2 different types of bone too that we like to talk about is trabecular bone health, which is about 25% of the bone. This is usually in bone marrow, in our flat bones, in our vertebrae, mostly in our pelvis. And this type of bone also has a higher turnover rate. And basically it gives it the bone its strength. Loss of this bone happens when the body is low in estrogen, when you stop moving, so physical activity is important, and with steroid use. The other type of bone that we like to talk about is cortical bone. This makes up about 75% of our bone and protects bone from trauma. And this is where most of our calcium and vitamin D resides. Bone is a reservoir for all these minerals that we have listed here, and so it's very important for our teeth, our blood vessel function, muscle health, nerve health, hormone health, especially for insulin, and our pH balance. So next we're going to talk a little bit about bone structure and the cells. Bone is constantly being broken down and rebuilt. So as we live our daily lives, it is normal for bone to need to be repaired and from micro damage, which prevents old fragile bone from accumulating, which is what can cause a fracture. There are 2 types of bone cells that we like to talk about, and one is called osteoclasts. And these are bones that needed to break down old bone. These cells also stimulate the production of acid and enzymes that dissolve the mineral protein matrix of bone. And then osteoblasts, which are bone cells that lay down the protein matrix for new bone. So osteoclasts are on the left, osteoblasts are on the right, and this is how we remodel our bone health. So next we want to talk about our life cycle of bone from when we're born till we're in our older age. So here's a life cycle of our bone health as we age. During childhood, our teenage years, bone is added faster than old bone is removed. And 85% of bone mass is achieved by age 18, for women and age 20 for men. During this time, it is really important to consume enough calcium, so make sure you get those children enough milk to drink or other sources of calcium. At around age 30, we usually reach peak bone mass. So this is, when our bone starts to change from being added faster than it's being removed. It's actually the opposite now. So after age 30, old bone is removed faster, then new bone is created and laid down in the body. Calcium intake is very important during this time as well, but it's normal to lose some bone mass as we grow older. So next we're going to talk about hormones and how that affects our bone health. So we're talking about, hormones such as estrogen and testosterone and progesterone. These are hormones that are needed for, bone health, but also for our sexual health as well. And another hormone that is important is thyroid hormone. So this hormone accelerates reabsorption and breakdown of bone. In the bone cells that build bone tissue called osteoblasts, there is progesterone receptors actually on them. So the two hormones that actually drive bone health formation is testosterone and estrogen. So estrogen drives teenagers to have their growth spurts, but as estrogen plays a role in bone mineralization for men and women, but when there is estrogen deficiency, the osteoclasts are more sensitive to parathyroid hormone, which can increase bone breakdown and therefore raise blood calcium levels. So this also decreases the parathyroid hormone levels and lowers vitamin D as well, and increases the excretion of calcium. So it's really important to maintain your vitamin D health levels at this time as well. But that's why as we grow older and get into the stage for women for menopause, this is why a lot of times our bone health is affected as well. So there are a few things that can actually affect our bone health in negative ways. And this could be from smoking, which actually decreases bone density. So it depends on how long we smoke and, what kind of smoking we're doing for as long as we're doing it. This will actually affect if we actually have fractures in the future. So then consumption of excess processed foods is also a part of this. And this is actually refined sugars and carbohydrates, salts, fried foods, hydrogenated oils, corn-fed meats, which promote actually inflammation in the body and then in the animal, and then we eat it. But inflammation can lead to bone loss as well. Certain medications can actually affect our bone health, such as corticosteroids, thyroid medications, and acids. These can all affect our mineral absorption, especially calcium uptake. And then compromised digestion, whenever, if you've been diagnosed with IBS, colitis, celiac disease, Crohn's disease, this can affect your body's ability to absorb calcium and actually support the bone minerals that we need. So this can happen as we age. And then changing hormones, as we just talked about, these hormones again are thyroid hormones, cortisol, which is a stress hormone, progesterone, testosterone, all affect our bone health. Stress can actually really affect our bone health. Cortisol, which is a stress hormone, can actually affect how much calcium we absorb. And also some medical conditions, such as arthritis, eating disorders, diabetes, those can all be affecting how our bone is created. So we want to eliminate or avoid these bone breakers whenever possible. This could be, again, the processed foods, the smoking, compromised digestion, stress hormones, medications, conditions. So now let's talk about some bone builders. So some bone builders, really important is exercise, vitamin Bs, so vitamin B12 and folic acid, vitamin B6, our vitamin K, vitamin D, which are fat soluble vitamins, vitamin C, some minerals like zinc, copper, silicon, boron, and calcium, and strontium and magnesium. Those are all really important minerals for bone. And then digestive enzymes, HCl, which is hydrochloric acid in your gut, and fish oil. So let's first talk about physical activity and how this affects our bones. So some things that you can do that is really important for bone health is exercise. And these could be anything from hiking, jogging, walking, dancing, jumping, rope, court sports, and weightlifting. Actually, weight bearing exercise is really important to stimulate bone growth. And also something that's really easy that everybody could do is unipedal standing, which means that you stand on one leg. And doing this for 1 minute, 3 times a day actually has the same effect on our bone density as walking for 53 minutes. So that's something that everybody could do. If you can't get out and enjoy the weather, if it's nice out, you can always do some unipedal standing. So now let's talk about specific nutrients that are important for our bone health. And this would be vitamin D is one of the most important things that we need because it actually helps with absorbing calcium. It ensures calcium is delivered to the bone and regulates production of osteocalcin, which is our bone building protein. So in addition, vitamin D maintains our normal parathyroid health and supports muscle strength and prevents falls, which can actually cause a fracture. So now we're going to talk about vitamin K. Vitamin K is also a fat-soluble vitamin, so it's a bone-building vitamin. Then it has a lot of benefits. It regulates our blood coagulation, and then our bone mineralization and our vascular health. It activates our osteocalcin and our matrix GLA, which is a component of our bone health as well. And then it increases the number of bone-building osteoblasts and decreases the number of osteoclasts. So as we're building bone, vitamin K is very important because it actually is going to support the bone protein formation in our bone and support bone health. So next we're going to talk about vitamin Bs and vitamin C. There are some other bone-building vitamins such as vitamin C and vitamin Bs that are really essential. And vitamin C is actually needed for the production of collagen. And this is one of the most abundant proteins in the bone or in our body, which supports bone cross-linking. Collagen provides bone with flexibility and suppresses osteoclast activity, which is the breakdown of bone, and supports the osteoblasts, which is building bone. Our vitamin Bs are really important, not only for brain health, but also for bone health too. So this would be vitamin B6, folic acid, vitamin B12 are needed for bone health. Vitamin B12 stimulates the osteoblast cells and modulates homocysteine, which can interfere with cross-linking of our collagen. Vitamin B12, folic acid, and vitamin B modulates homocysteine, which is actually a marker for inflammation. And vitamin B6 may also stimulate progesterone production, which activates osteoblasts. And you can find most of these supplements at Natural Grocers. We have some really great deals on vitamin B and C and folic acid. So now we're going to talk about our minerals. And we've already kind of gone through this a little bit, but let me just talk a little bit about calcium, which is our main one. Calcium is the most abundant and one of the most important minerals in the body because it gives bone its hardness and its strength. Lifestyle choices and medications can actually deplete calcium in the body, and the absorption of calcium is dependent on how much stomach acid we have in our gut. So calcium bound to amino acids or other compounds can absorb more effectively. So that would be if it's an amino acid like glycine or citrate or malate. Other compounds such as fumarate, succinate, and aspartate are also sometimes put together with calcium so that it actually can absorb. And that's what the Krebs cycle intermediates are. So next we're going to talk about its calcium's main friend, which is magnesium. And magnesium does about 300 different things in biochemical activities in the body, so it's really important. And just like calcium, magnesium is a mineral that is important for bone health. It influences mineral and matrix metabolism in bones and reduces the bone turnover while favoring bone formation over reabsorption. It regulates the transport of calcium into the bone and the creation of normal calcium crystals in the bone tissue. When there is magnesium deficiency, this can actually lead to reduced bone levels or blood levels of active vitamin D. So that's why a lot of your calciums will have magnesium and vitamin D. They help with absorption. And magnesium is important for parathyroid hormone production, which releases different things that will activate the vitamin D and calcium absorption in the intestines. Going through a lot of chronic stress can also influence low magnesium levels. And magnesium actually can help with relaxation. It's a part of the mineral protein matrix. 75 to 80% of people consume less than the recommended daily allowance. Most alternative medicine practitioners recommend like a 2-to-1 ratio of calcium to magnesium. And that's why you will see, like in a liquid calcium, you'll see 600 milligrams of calcium, 300 milligrams of magnesium. So for men over 30, it's recommended to do about 420 milligrams per day, and women 320 milligrams a day. So next we're going to talk about strontium, and this is actually one that I don't think most people know about, but it's really important as well. It actually 90% of strontium is in the body is actually found in bone, and it supports strength of the bone by drawing calcium to the bone. It accumulates in bone when the body is actively building bone and enhances osteoblasts, which is going to be bone building activity, reduces osteoclast activity as well, and make sure to get calcium and strontium if you're trying to build bone. Too much strontium though, if you have more strontium than you have calcium, this actually can affect the DEXA scan that you do when you go to get your bone density test. So be careful not to get too much strontium. Some people just do calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, and some other minerals, and sometimes they do strontium and sometimes they don't. Just don't make sure that you don't get too much. So get calcium that has strontium that's in the right ratio. So there are a few other essential minerals that we're going to talk about. And these include zinc, which is really important for collagen formation. It actually also enhances vitamin D function and is needed for osteoblast and osteoclast formation. Copper, which is actually really important for zinc and vitamin C balance. So it slows down, copper slows down bone breakdown. Silicon or silica needed for healthy and strong collagen formation, and boron, which actually activates bone building hormones like estrogen, and vitamin D, which vitamin D is actually a hormone, and it reduces urinary calcium and magnesium excretion, which can actually modulate inflammation. So the trace mineral manganese stimulates production of some chemicals that are polysaccharides that provides structure for calcification to take place. So these are all really important minerals, but like I said, if you're going to get zinc, make sure that you get zinc with a little bit of copper. We are also going to include some nutrients to support gut health, which are also going to support our bone health. And this has to do with your hydrochloric acid, your enzymes, and your fish oil. So there are other nutrients, and digestive enzymes and HCl is needed to help digest and absorb calcium, as well as other minerals. Fish oils such as EPA and DHA, which are the essential fatty acids in fish oil, may reduce collagen breakdown in bone while supporting bone mineral structure. EPA and DHA also is really important for brain, but it also contains prostaglandins, which help with calcium reabsorption and excretion. And fish oil also can modulate inflammation and help transport the calcium across the cell membranes, because cell membranes have essential fatty acids in their membrane. Fish oil also enhances vitamin D and reduces urinary calcium excretion and increases calcium in the bone. So if you haven't been taking fish oil or doing some digestive enzymes, my favorite is Enzymatica Digest Gold. Those are some things to maybe try. And as far as supporting your HCl or your hydrochloric acid, you can do a little bit of apple cider vinegar and some water, and that can be supportive, or bitters can be supportive as well. So next we're going to talk about our diet, because diet plays a really huge role in our bone health. So eating a natural food diet is a good place to start, meaning that you're limiting your processed foods. Eating a balanced diet, meaning that you're with every meal and every snack, having some healthy protein, healthy fats, and healthy carbohydrates. Try to eat about 3 to 5 servings of vegetables, which are healthy carbohydrates, and or fruits per day to support bone health. So now we're going to talk about some of these low carbohydrates, and that would be vegetables. So eating good quality carbohydrates, especially from organic vegetables, can support bone health and provide your body with nutrients such as antioxidants, which are free radical scavengers. These actually help with impair or repair new bone, and antioxidants also provide some protection. Also vitamins, minerals, fiber, those are all really important, and enzymes. Green leafy vegetables provide sources of vitamin K, calcium, boron, and other minerals that are needed for our healthy bones. And calcium-rich vegetables would be like broccoli and kale, which is cooked, cabbage, which is boiled, spinach, which is cooked, collard greens, and turnip greens. These are all really important. Boiling or cooking your vegetables, especially these leafy green vegetables, can help to break down the anti-nutrients like oxalates that can actually be a problem for some people. And then some magnesium-rich foods would be beet greens, broccoli, avocado, boiled spinach, and boiled Swiss chard, again, to help with the oxalates if you have a sensitivity or your body can't break down oxalates, which can form into kidney stones. So just heads up about that. Eating fruits and vegetables can improve bone density by 85% according to some studies, because they help maintain pH balance in the body so that calcium can stay in the bone. So this is why it's important to eat, I like to say 3 to 5 cups of vegetables a day. Next, we're going to talk about protein. Protein is really important because it is going to provide the amino acids that are needed for bone health. So it's important to focus on a whole food protein sources, such as 22% of the bone matrix is made out of protein. And start with a palm-sized portion, because everybody's going to be different. So that's going to vary from person to person based on their size. Be careful not to consume too much protein, because that can leach calcium into your blood from your bones. And that is actually what will happen when your body isn't in pH balance. So 3 to 4 servings of vegetables are needed to balance your pH whenever you're eating one portion of protein, especially animal protein. So calcium-rich proteins include almonds, sesame seeds, tofu, peanuts, canned pink salmon with its bones in it, dairy products, sardines, and tempeh. Some magnesium-rich proteins are seeds such as pumpkin seeds, sunflower seeds, and some fish, especially wild-caught salmon and halibut, some shrimp, seafood, and then actually some beef is actually really important protein sources for magnesium. So there is a difference between conventional meats and naturally raised meats, and part of that has to do with its nutrition. So cows that are grazed and forage are called grass-fed. They actually have a healthier fatty acid profile compared to conventionally raised beef. Grass-fed beef also has an omega-6 to omega-3 fatty acid profile, which is 2-to-1 ratio instead of a 23-to-1 ratio, which actually is going to promote more inflammation because the animal is being fed usually grain, which is corn, and also given antibiotics and hormones. So excess omega-6 in our diet actually leads to inflammation and can be associated with modern diseases such as heart disease and weight gain. Chronic inflammation can negatively affect the absorption of existing bone while blocking normal production of new bone. And grass-fed beef is also higher in nutrients such as zinc, CoQ10, L-carnitine, vitamin A, vitamin E, which is a fat-soluble antioxidant, and CLA, which is actually a really healthy fat for our body. So now we're going to talk a little bit about protein for vegetarians. So if people do not want to eat any animal products, that's fine. We do have a few options. You just want to do them in moderation because some of them have a lot of carbohydrates. So if you're more sensitive to sugar, you might want to do potatoes and quinoa in moderation. And then soy can also be supportive for some people. However, others, the soy can affect your thyroid. So just exercise caution. Soy actually, there's a component in soy called isoflavonoids, isoflavones, sorry, are phytoestrogens from soy that can actually increase bone mineralization and bone strength while reducing bone absorption, reabsorption, and can support bone health by modulating inflammation. And some women find that these phytoestrogens can actually be supportive while they're going through menopause. So some people may be fine with soy and some people are not. You just want to kind of know for sure, maybe talk to your doctor about that. But if someone is on a vegetarian diet, they may want to also supplement with lysine, which is an amino acid to support calcium absorption. And it's important to support cartilage and bone, collagen, and connective tissue. So next we're going to talk about something really important called fats. And we've been told that fats are not good for us, but actually healthy fats are really important. So healthy fats support our ability to modulate inflammation, and inflammation can actually affect bone health. Some healthy sources of fats are butter, especially if it's grass-fed, coconut oil, palm oil, olive oil, sesame oil, and cream. So good quality fats are used for cooking, garnishing. They're a part of our quality protein from animal products. Fats also help with blood sugar balance, adrenal health, brain health, and have many other health benefits. For calcium to be effectively absorbed into skeletal system, at least 50% of the fats should be saturated fats. So I know people are kind of scared of saturated fats, but they actually provide some benefits for our health, which is for brain health, our cell membranes, our heart health, and actually for good cholesterol, especially if you have good liver health and your body can process your fats. There are some enzymes or other things that you can take to support your fat digestion if this is kind of an issue for you. But fats from butter and coconut oil support the immune system as well. And that's why, coconut oil and MCT oil and avocado oil and avocados, nuts and seeds and olive oil can be really beneficial for bone health as well. So some people may want to also add some additional carbohydrates. And this is usually for people who need more energy or they're athletes. But some people may include some of these into their diet to support, their energy needs. But grains are pretty much the least nutrient dense food that we have in our system. So sources of carbohydrates may interrupt our mineral absorption, so you want to be a little bit careful. But plus they also contain proteins such as lectins that act as anti-nutrients, and they act as hormones. So when absorbed, they can actually be promoting more inflammation, which can actually break down the bone and reduce bone formation. So lectins can also affect your immune health, your mood, your blood sugar levels, heart health, and sex hormones. So you want to kind of exercise a little bit of caution. That's why soaking and sprouting grains can be really beneficial. Some other anti-nutrients found in grains, such as wheat, basically have gluten or gliadin, and some people are intolerant to gluten. And so that is something that maybe you want to avoid if you're on a gluten-free diet. You can do rice, you could do quinoa, you can do some gluten-free grains. Also, dairy proteins such as casein can actually affect your mood and brain health as well. So some people who have an intolerance to dairy, they may be having an issue with the lactose, but it also might be the proteins, casein, that is in the dairy. So next we're going to talk about how important fruit is. And I know that fruit has a lot of sugar, but actually it has a lot of fiber, has a lot of vitamins and minerals, antioxidants, and it is a healthy carbohydrate. So fruit would be a great dessert or a great snack, especially when you add some kind of healthy protein or fat to it. This can actually be supportive for bone health because it provides the body with all of the essential nutrients that you need to be successful in being healthy. So this is one thing that, instead of maybe doing that baked good, maybe have an apple instead. And if you match it up with a nut butter, that's even better. There are some foods to actually eliminate or to limit, and this would be actually, I know some people might not like this, but coffee or alcohol actually are not supportive for bone health. They actually increase mineral excretion. Soft drinks actually have caffeine, they have phosphoric acid and high fructose corn syrup. This increases calcium excretion and leads to lower calcium blood levels, and also just unhealthy for overall promoting inflammation. White sugar and refined carbohydrates or refined flours increase urinary excretion of calcium and magnesium and promotes more inflammation in the body, which we've already talked about affect our bone health. Also, refined salts increase urinary calcium loss as well. And so just be a little bit careful with salt and sugar. So your blood sugar actually affects your bone health as well. And in most of our coaching sessions, or all of them, we talk about the blood sugar roller coaster. Basically, what this is talking about is an unbalanced breakfast, which would be basically the standard American diet: cold cereal that has a lot of sugar, skim milk that doesn't have a whole lot of protein or fat, orange juice, which basically has some orange flavoring in sugar water, and then coffee or just coffee. This is an unbalanced breakfast, which shoots your blood sugar out of normal range, which is stressful in the body. This increases or stimulates your insulin, which is a fat storage hormone. It stores any excess sugar as fat. This affects our mood swings and our brain. So maybe people might have more brain fog from this. So basically, then it metabolizes very quickly in the body, and this can be stressful. This actually stimulates your cortisol from your adrenals to be activated, and most people have more cravings for sugary foods. Most people have fatigue, and maybe they have some brain fog. So this type of, breakfast on a regular basis can actually be stressful in the body, and it just sets your body up for poor health. So after eating a sugary meal, the food is metabolized so quickly, like I said, and this is stressful. So basically, this can interfere with bone metabolism when we're talking about too much cortisol in our system. And one way to make sure that your meals are always balanced is to, again, have a little bit of healthy protein, a healthy carbohydrate, and healthy fat with every meal. So now we're going to put all of this information that we just learned into an action plan. And so this means making good choices to support our bone health. Start with a good quality protein-rich breakfast every morning, such as eggs or a protein-rich smoothie. Experiment to find your best meals and snacks for healthy blood sugar balance, like we just talked about. You can supplement your diet to support optimal nutrition intake for bone health. And that means all the supplements that we just talked about: calcium, magnesium, vitamin D, strontium. And then you could also book a free coaching session with me or any other health coach at Natural Grocers in your area. And we can set up some kind of specific diet regimen for you and supplement program. So just to summarize, or just to give you some resources, and if you're interested, you can reach out to Melissa or to myself at Highlands Ranch Natural Grocers. I can also drop my bookings link into the comment section after this presentation. But we do have a few different, sources that we have available. We have customer literature files, especially on calcium and magnesium. We actually don't have this calcium feel it in your bones anymore. It's actually changed to a different one called calcium absorption, but we do have the calcium and magnesium rich foods customer literature files if anybody's interested. They can reach out again to me or to Melissa at the library. The Encyclopedia of Natural Medicine is a really great book and resource. And then Magnificent Magnesium from Dr. Dennis Goodman is a really good resource as well. And these can be found at most Natural Grocers or online. So that's really all I have for you today. Thank you for letting me come on here and do this presentation. And I'm going to say happy St. Patrick's Day and thank you very much. Have a great day.